Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Africa for Dummies podcast. On this episode, we're going to be discussing something very special. Ghana and Zambia were actually going through a beef, right? This was a beef that stemmed from the president of Ghana basically visiting Zambia and was wearing a Fugu traditional piece of clothing. And people in Zambia made fun of it, and this kind of got into a little bit of back and forth that went down on social media. Now, here at Africa for Dummies, we believe that, well, the memes were very funny, but this meeting was actually very important, and many people are missing the important aspect of it. Now, Zenge is going to take you through some of the history and the context that is surrounding this, and I'll try to break down what was actually missed out in a lot of the discussion that's taking place online. So, Zenge, take us through the history and the context.
So Ghana and Zambia have a very long historic relationship, both on the state level as well as the people-to-people level below the state. Historical foundations and long-standing diplomatic ties are basically rooted in the ideals of Pan-Africanism. What is Pan-Africanism? It's an idea of solidarity towards the colonial era oppressors and also towards the unified prosperity of Africa and Africans and people of African descent as well. Zambia and Ghana have historically maintained friendly bilateral relations from the onset of each country's independence. Ghana attained independence in 1957, which is the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence, led by Kwame Nkrumah, or as Ghanaians say, Oswajefo, Kwame Nkrumah. And I think it's a term of endearment and respect. And then there's also Kenneth Kaunda, first president of Zambia. Zambia got independent in 1963. Kwame Nkrumah was president till the late 1960s. He was overthrown. That's when Zambia and Ghana got different trajectories. Both Zambia and Ghana have been one-party states, but Ghana went on a sort of spiral of different military coups in the late 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, until General J.J. Rawlings, Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings came, stabilized most of Ghana, and then resulted in Ghana becoming a stable democracy. Ghana today is one of the most stable democracies in West Africa. Amidst all of these coup threats in West Africa, Ghana stands quite strong in terms of stability and democracy and ranks very well on the indexes. Zambia also had a period of one-party state, although under one presidency, one party, and relatively very peaceful with no military coups, no successful military coups, and since 1991 has had democratic elections and different political parties. Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation. What does that mean? This is basically the institutionalized version of Zambia-Ghana relations. When we look at state visits, this is the result of numerous state visits, and these commissions are created basically to allow for the technical experts from different countries, foreign ministries, to work on different areas of cooperation, ranging from trade, agriculture, mining, energy, education, science and technology, you name it. Key state visits for between Zambia and Ghana include 2023, when President Hakainde Hichilema, president of Zambia, made a state visit to Ghana on the invitation of President Nana Akufo-Addo, the former president of Ghana, during which a range of cooperation agreements were signed, ranging from trade, investment, ICT, skills development, and culture. Culture, of course, we talked about the Fugu and the Sibiza wars online outfits. And in February 2026, of course, this state visit happened. President John Dramani Mahama, the recently elected president of Ghana, by recently he has just returned he returned to office after being president for 4 years prior to Nana Akufo-Addo, who was president for 8 years. Dramani Mahama undertook a 3-day state visit to Zambia, emphasizing economic cooperation and deepening bilateral ties. So key areas of cooperation. By the way, it's important to also note that in 2017, there was a state visit by Nana Akufo-Addo to Zambia, where he held bilateral talks with the former president, then President Edgar Lungu, and he also opened the 53rd Zambia International Trade Fair in Dola, and visited a number of agricultural sites, and also met with the Ghanaian community. Nana Akufo-Addo returned to Zambia for another occasion, more on a sad occasion, where he attended the funeral of the first president, Kenneth Kaunda, on July the 2nd, 2021, who was a strong friend of Kwame Nkrumah. But he was also visiting in his capacity as chairperson of ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. So let's just look at the agreement and some of the things that came out of this agreement. So visa-free travel between Zambia and Ghana. So Zambians can now go to Ghana without a visa. They can just get on a plane, land there. There might be a few checks here and there, but there is no visa. Ghanaians, that's the same issue, going to Lusaka. And the historic visa waiver was basically intended to ease mobility in support of the free movement of African people, which is in line with a lot of AU, ECOWAS, and SADC principles. SADC is the Southern African Development Community, which is the Southern African bloc Zambia is part of. ECOWAS is the bloc that Ghana is part of. So this increases mobility for entrepreneurs, students, professionals, as well as tourists, for people that are just interested to see what Ghana has to offer. Like, for example, the beautiful Kwame Nkrumah shrine or mausoleum, the beautiful infrastructure. I don't know, it's called the Black Star Square. It's got the iconic Black Star there. And many of the histories of Ghana and Atlantic slave trade, as well as the vibrant culture of the Ashanti people. Ghanaians could go to Zambia and also see the vibrant culture of the Kwamboka ceremony of the people of the Lozi ethnic group in Western Zambia. Of course, the Victoria Falls. Zimbabweans don't come at me for this, but yeah, it's in Zambia. And so there's a lot of stuff that many countries can see. Nathan is dying in laughter. But there's also the comprehensive economic cooperation. There's a comprehensive economic partnership that was also secured to deepen trade, investment, and international cooperation. And priority areas include agriculture, agro-processing, renewable energy, mining, fintech, digital services, and so many other things. Ghana produces a lot of gold. So just to look at some of the trade statistics, in the trade between Zambia and Ghana is not very huge. Ghana, of course, is the headquarters of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, AFC, the AFCFTA. It's a small F, so Africa Continental Free Trade Area. It's headquartered in Ghana, and both countries, Zambia and Ghana, have ratified them. So if you look at the trade volumes, the 2024 Zambia's exports to Ghana were approximately 702,000 US dollars, up from about 524,000 in 2019, showing a growth over the past 5 years. Exports to Zambia, exports between Zambia and Ghana. Zambia's exports to Ghana are relatively modest, and the products exported are basically small shipments. In terms of the main products that Ghana exports to Zambia are therapeutic appliances, things like air pumps, so manufactured goods. Exports from Zambia to Ghana include tractors, poultry, so a mixture of manufactured good and livestock, agricultural aspects. And exports Ghana's exports to Zambia were much smaller than Zambia's exports to Ghana. Ghana's exports to Zambia were around 188,000 in 2023. And the economy is also quite different. When you look at the sheer size of the economy, Ghana's economy is at 82.31 billion US dollars as of 2024. Zambia's economy is at 25.3 billion dollars over 2024, though expected to reach 30 billion in 2026. Ghana's is also expected to grow. Zambia's economy will be growing at around 5 to 6%. Ghana will also be expected to grow around 4.8 to 5.4%. And both countries have one of the best performing currencies, the Ghanaian cedi and the Zambian kwacha.
We have broken down the whole Zambia, Ghana, statistics, trade, and everything like that. I'm curious as to what do you think about this visit? What do you think about the memes? What do you think about this, man?
I think the memes, it's an excellent lesson on um, people to people relations and exposure, because the first reaction from Zambians calling the Fugu a blouse, um, because President Dramani Mahama was wearing a Fugu upon arrival, and other members of his delegation also wore it throughout the state visit. And Zambians were not able to relate to it. The immediate reaction was, okay, this is a bit of a colonial mindset, right?
Hmm.
You have Hakainde Hichilema wearing a suit, right? As he usually wears. He almost never wears traditional outfits unless it's the Komboka ceremony. Um, so people didn't consider that to be a smart attire or an attire all in all. Of course, it was said with a lot of humor. It wasn't meant out of hatred, but it says a lot about exposure and understanding of different cultures. Of course, there's that debate of whether or not it's good taste or not good taste. But the fact that
Some
you have
people took it a bit too serious. I feel like.
yeah, people do it. But the fact that you called it a blouse just already tells you that you are thinking in non-African terms, and you have to
Yeah,
acclimatize it to, you know what I mean? And then
yeah,
Ghanaians hit back with the Civisa. The Civisa is a Lozi outfit.
yeah.
The
I think
Lozi ethnic
that
group.
was a good comeback.
Yeah, the Lozi ethnic group is one of Zambia's 73. No, we have 73 languages, 72 tribes.
72. Genau.
72 ethnic groups or tribes, whichever
Yeah.
you prefer. I prefer saying ethnic groups. Um, and they wear this outfit, which is normally red. Sometimes people have their own custom versions, and it's got a waistcoat
Yeah, I
and a
think we'll put it
tie.
up. We'll put it up on the
Yeah, the
yeah.
waistcoat and the tie. And it's normally done during the Komboka ceremony. So someone responded, hit back, and they're saying from Ghana, they're saying, "Oh, you guys wear this thing. You guys wear skirts. Men's wear skirts in Zambia." And someone responded back from Zambia again saying, well, it's pretty unfair to say that one of Zambia's 72 ethnic groups, who themselves only wear it around one time of the year, are being,
But then
this would be an example
that
for,
fugu
not even
actually
wear it in
comes
pride.
from.
Any ethnic group, yeah. Any
But then the
ethnic group
fugu
can
comes
wear
from
those things
one ethnic group
for
as
one.
well, right? It comes from one region at least.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then again, it also like I thought way too deep about this stuff. I don't know why,
Oh, I'm
but
curious to hear what your thoughts are, man. This might go in the I guess the bonus part of maybe the audio version. I don't know. In case if the video is too
probably
long.
yeah.
But I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts are.
No, for me, I was even like even it brought the bigger question of national identity. Like, what does that even
Uh-huh.
mean? Because both
Uh-huh.
countries are positioning one ethnic group's outfit as the national attire. You know, Nigeria, many people just think of Nigerian clothes as a unified attire, but there's different signals in their outfits that tells you
Uh-huh.
which part of Nigeria they're from. Um, so should we just accept one ethnic group's outfit as our national outfit, or do we have multiple national outfits? And that's a question
No,
to
I
both
think
Ghanaians and
I I think you're
because
thinking about this a bit too much.
yeah, Ngoni is in Chwala ceremony.
I
They they
yeah,
they they wear they wear what Shaka Zulu wore, right?
right.
So is that also Zambian national attire? Should the president also wear that? You know, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah, I don't know. I personally, because I mean, I think really it was just people grabbing,
interesting.
straws. In my opinion, when you're looking
Yeah.
at the memes, I think people were really grabbing at straws, trying to just make fun of people. I saw memes from the Ghanaian side that were clearly inaccurate. I don't think like some of them were not even Zambia.
What type of memes?
Like I think they were talking. I think there was one about Zambian police uniforms, and I looked at them and I was like, those are not Zambian police uniforms. I mean, our uniforms are not the best, but those are not Zambian police uniforms. There's just a couple where I could tell like, okay, there's clearly a huge discrepancy between both countries with regards to the knowledge of actually what's going on in said country, which you can understand. I
Yeah.
mean, Ghana's all the way in West Africa, Zambia's all the way in Southern Africa, so you can definitely understand
But then
as
again,
to what.
but then
Mhm.
again, then again, our relations are very these are two Commonwealth countries. So there are two
Mm-hmm.
English-speaking African countries. So it's still within
Mm-hmm.
that prism, It still says something about our relationships being limited to, of course, unless they're our neighbors like the DRC, we will not go. Zambia won't go out of its way, to visit Senegal,
Yeah, yeah.
or
Just for starters, there hasn't
uh,
been a very big relationship, right? I think that Kenneth Kaunda kind of fell under the same. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he fell under the same school of thought of Kwame Nkrumah, which kind of believed in this united Africa
mm,
sort of a movement, So I think that's where the relationship sort of started, and that's where the relationship. Um,
yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I think Kenneth Kaunda
mhm.
took a lot of inspiration from Kwame
Yeah,
Nkrumah. They lived at the same time. They met each other. We interviewed one of the freedom fighters who was Zambia's ambassador to Ghana,
yeah.
and he
My
talked
great
about
granddad.
the
Yeah.
yeah, talked about the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah, and sort of the fear in people at that time,
Yeah.
at least those he knew, or the
Hmm.
uncertainty. And
But
it's
yeah,
interesting. Changing the name. They talked about changing the name for the airport in Accra, Ghana, Kotoka International Airport. Kotoka International Airport was named after the person that killed, or not killed, sorry, uh, that overthrew Kwame Nkrumah, a
hmm.
general. And so many people are advocating for it to be renamed Kwame Nkrumah International Airport.
Okay.
But there's some who are against that or hesitant about it because they're saying it will bring some ethnic undertones, like Nkrumah's ethnic group.
Uh-huh.
Who, yeah. So it's more delicate than sort of the usual Pan Africanists want it to be. Um,
Uh-huh.
the at the time of the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah, there was a clampdown on opposition elements, and there were a lot of people that were frustrated with the sort of iron grip that Nkrumah started having over the end. It
Uh-huh.
became a one-party state. Right? Kaunda also
Yeah.
became a one-party state, but it didn't suffer the same fate as Kwame Nkrumah.
Yeah.
So the what you hear outside Africa, when I was growing up, Kwame Nkrumah was a saint, like perfect, like
Uh-huh.
only there was thou shalt do no wrong. But then when you
Right.
look at these countries and see people that lived those times, it's much more mixed. Of course, there's appreciation for his enormous effort in
Okay.
creating African
Kind
Union
of.
and so on.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, there's always been that Pan African thing. I think, as I said before, like the fact that I think Kaunda and Kwame Nkrumah were under the same school of thought, and a lot of people I think need to realize this, and maybe I might get a bit of slack from Pan Africanists, but like the idea that
Well,
Africa should operate as like one United States, uh, it wasn't universally held, right? I think generally there were three schools of thought, right? There was the Kwame
true.
Nkrumah, I think three. If you're going to add Francophone, like Francophone was kind of in a world of its own, kind of thinking that like unified Francophone. I don't think
Yeah,
they
they just
really.
mentioned the three school of thoughts, and then I'll come in.
Okay,
Yeah.
nah, you're probably going to school me on this, but you
I
have
will.
you have the Kwame Nkrumah group, right? That was United States of Africa. Then you had I think Balewo, the first
Tafawa
president
Balewa.
of Tafawa Balewa. Is that first president of Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, first president of Nigeria.
Yeah, first president of Nigeria. Him, and I don't know who else was with him,
First
but
prime
their school
minister.
of thought. Yeah, their prime minister, excuse me, their school of thought was more so that Africa should sort of like the way it is right now. You have that African Union headquarters, but African states maintain their own sort of sovereignty and their own, they can decide their own fate and stuff like that. And then if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong here, but there was also the francophone kind of. There was a school of thought within the francophone countries where they wanted to unify themselves as francophone countries, and sort of move on their own path. Now I could be wrong, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, so the traditional way of telling that story of how the AU came about was
But wait, wait, wait,
they.
wait, wait. I think we're going to start going off. I don't want us to go off on a tangent because this is about Ghana and
I'll make it
Zambia.
very small. I promise.
Yeah.
Like it's
All
not
right.
gonna
All
be.
right.
So they're basically the one I know is the two stories. There's the Casablanca group and there was
Yeah.
the Monrovia group. Casablanca is a
Okay.
major city in Morocco.
Genau.
Monrovia
Yeah.
is Monrovia is the capital city of Liberia, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the Casablanca group was in favor of an integrated United States of Africa. This included Kwame Nkrumah. This included Sekou Toure of Guinea. Um, this included, it's Sekou Toure of Guinea. These are the two that come to mind first. And then there was the Monrovia group that was much more restricted. They believed in a loose uh, confederation of states. So just a group of states with a few things in common, but the sovereignty kept. This is, I think, the group that you're saying Tafawa Balewa was. Yes, Nigeria was part of that group also.
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria, Ivory Coast under Houphouët Boigny, the first president of Ivory Coast, was in that
Sorry,
group. They believed
if I may,
in
if
a
I
loose.
may, if I may.
Can I finish this part? Can I just finish this point?
Yeah.
They believed in a loose African Union. So basically, the Monrovia group won the battle, and that's how the Organization of African Unity was formed, which is why it's a interstate group rather than a supranational United States of Africa.
The group I was referring to is the Brazzaville group, led by Felix
Okay. Boigny,
Boigny
that's the former president
Boigny
of Ivory Coast.
of
Yeah,
Ivory Coast, along with
yeah,
other French African states, wanted to maintain paternalistic ties with France while keeping national sovereignty. So that's the group I was referring to.
yeah. But that's also, you can rough that into being France Afrique, the paternal
Yeah,
ties
that's
with
what I was,
France. Uh,
but they had their
uh,
own. That's what I'm saying. That they had their own sort of also goal, I guess, in a
yeah,
sense.
yeah, which was largely part of the France Afrique web. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you see all of these things here, and the CFA, and then the CFA
Mhm.
ties, the colonial ties, where that story of France that never left. Um,
Yeah. So,
yeah,
if I
yeah,
may, before we start diving into the economics, I guess, and stuff like that, but like, uh, what do you think is the reason as to why Zambia had that reaction? Because I mean, I saw the Fugu thing, didn't think much of it, to be honest. But why colonialism mindset? Would you say Zambians have?
yeah. I mean, that's my first thought, because
Yeah.
yeah, definitely colonialism mindset. Um, People just aren't used to seeing such things. So
Mm-hmm.
your immediate relationship with something will have to be will have to be compared with what the British have told you.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I remember I had this crazy argument. I mean, I like these devil's advocate arguments and hypotheticals, and I was like, if I come dressed like Shaka Zulu, hardly covering most of my body, am I being offensive? Or and so I was in this argument with this girl, and she was like, no, that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. It's highly inappropriate. I was like, why is it inappropriate? Like, why can't
Why
I
is
just
it
dress the way my
inappropriate?
ancestors? Yeah, why can't I
Mm.
just dress the way my ancestors wanted to? It's like, what's gonna happen? It's like, no, but your butt is out. It's like, and
Everyone was
so
okay with it back then. Yeah.
yeah, back then that was perfectly fine. Now it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, there is a cultural implication, and that we just can't escape. I guess I don't know if
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now moving on to the deals that were made. What say you? How do you feel about? I'm very happy that I can now travel to Ghana visa free. To be very honest with you, I don't know. I understand
Yeah.
why there was a visa. To be honest, but yeah.
I think it's
Uh,
yeah. I think it's a low hanging fruit, the visa free
yeah, but it's
um
good. Here's the thing, man. I
it's
I
common
really
sense. Not like common sense, because that's the first thing I thought when I heard the president of Ghana is coming to Zambia. I was like, they better do visa
Okay.
free.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. You predicted it. 5 stars, bro. No, my point is, right? Like, I think that more of these things need to happen because this is clear evidence that like the fact that people are making memes about this is clear evidence that people are not exposed. right?
Mm.
Like now with this type of opportunity, of course, there's another hurdle that people have to jump over, which is the flight costs
Of course,
between African countries is
to go
ridiculous,
to
right?
to to to, to go to Ghana, even though it's visa free, for you to go to Ghana, best case
Probably have to
scenario,
go to
you fly,
Ethiopia.
you fly to Nairobi or you fly to Addis Ababa,
Yeah,
and you probably
exactly.
have a good 3 to 5 hours, sometimes a bit longer layover, and then so
Yeah,
you fly from Lusaka to Nairobi, which would be what, 3 hours?
three
You
hours.
fly
Yeah.
from Lusaka to Addis, which would be 4 hours. Then you have a 3 hour, a bit more layover in Addis or Nairobi. Then you go on a plane and you fly from Addis to I know Addis to Lagos is about 5 hours and a few minutes.
Oh, you can't go
So
direct to Ghana.
no. No, I'm saying the
Oh, okay.
flight. I'm just trying to compare
No,
the
no.
flights.
Ah, okay,
Addis,
okay.
Addis, Addis to if Addis to Abidjan is about 6 hours. So you'll be flying roughly around 6 hours, 5 hours to 6 hours or more to
Yeah,
Accra. So
right,
that's over around 10 hours of flying, excluding
right,
layover, just to go from
right.
Lusaka to Ghana, which you can go visa free.
Yeah, so there is that hurdle that definitely needs to be overcome. But I think it's a really good thing to sort of boost. I think I'm a really a huge fan of like touring African countries. I really do want to tour more African countries. Ethiopia's on my bucket list for sure.
Mm.
And more of these other African countries is definitely on my bucket list because I think it
Yeah,
it
I
really
think
does open. Yeah.
the question here is the economic cooperation is still very minimal.
Yeah.
Ghana economy is much more diversified than Zambia, even in the minerals and natural resources. Gold, oil, cocoa, the major
Coco.
chocolate
Yep.
ingredient, yeah, cocoa. Them and Ivory Coast, I think, control more than 60% of the world's cocoa. So if
Yeah.
you eat any chocolate, oh, it's Valentine's almost, yeah, at the time of recording. So you guys are eating a piece of Ghana or Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah.
Um, Zambia's economy remains heavily dependent on copper and cobalt, or copper rather, raw copper. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah. I mean,
okay, yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, I think Zambia actually has quite a lot to learn in this aspect, right? Especially considering the whole debt restructuring thing. Zambia is still at 95% of its debt restructured. Ghana
Hmm.
figured out a way to kind of negotiate its debt. And I think Zambia could learn quite a lot in this aspect, and also could learn, as you mentioned, from the diversity. Although, in Zambia's case, a lot of people, bro, from the time that we got independence, people have been talking about diversification of the economy, diversification of the economy. Every single president has mentioned it at least once,
Value
and
addition.
oh, jeez, Louise, like it's. I don't know if it's question mark on whether it's if it's actually
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, I'm curious as to what you think about the currencies. The Ghanaian
Ah,
cedi,
city.
uh, the
Oh, I think I
Ghanaian
have one
cedi has
actually.
reportedly,
Keep talking as I look for one. I have one.
oh wow, let's see it. The Ghanaian cedi has reportedly improved from I think 23%. And this is according to this
Largely
is according
driven by
according to
gold prices.
all right, okay. According to the
Yes.
president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, he did say that the Ghanaian he found the Ghanaian cedi at look, there it is. Ooh la la. What were the presidents or founding fathers of Ghana? Um, can I have that one? I'm actually collecting currency.
Yeah, I know
But
you
yeah,
are. But nah, this one,
yeah.
this one's, yeah.
We'll get more, then I don't know. Well, I can go there. I can go there. I don't need
True,
your
true.
help for free. Uh, so so Ghanaian said he has actually improved. He says that he found it at 23% inflation, and
Mhm.
right now it's around 3% inflation. So he has massively stabilized Ghana's economy, according to at least
Yes.
what you're saying. And
I,
Zambia's inflation has also improved, stabilized quite well.
yeah,
And
yeah. High copper
Zambian
prices.
currency, every few months, I'm just hearing about the Zambian currency, kwacha, being the best performing. Every other quarter is like they always, these announcements I'm hearing more and more. Every other
Yeah.
like 3 months, like best performing, best. And the Ghanaian said he had last year was also one of the best performing.
Yeah.
Wait, but one before you come in on the currency, I wanted to mention something. This visa-free policy was actually announced by the foreign minister of Ghana when they were meeting, at a meeting with Ghanaian community in Zambia, right? So actually, he mentioned that the Ghanaian president, John Dramani Mahama, was invited by Hakainde Hichilema, and he said, Ghanaian president said or instructed them that I will come and visit Zambia on condition that we sign this visa-free policy. That has to be done.
Mm.
And then HH was like, sure. So there's I've heard this. This is the second country I've heard of that's making a deliberate policy to improve their passport strength. Kenya does that.
Mm-hmm.
Kenya has gone to a number of countries where they have secured visa-free access to different countries, and now Kenya is among the top 10 strongest passports in Africa. So Zambia can do it if it wants to, but it's just not part of their foreign policy at the moment to
Yeah.
actively visa-free bilateral agreements.
At the
And
moment,
it's
bigger
yeah,
bigger
so
fish. Yeah, because I was going to
yeah,
dive
I
into
mean,
a lot of the points that you're talking about the currencies. Because again, I don't know if we talked about it last time, but basically, a lot of these countries, Zambia, Ghana, and also I think the both presidents are sort of kind of have a similar profile in the sense that they came into situations that were looking pretty bad. As I mentioned, Ghana, the whole defaulting, even Zambia, similar situations. And these are guys who have come to sort of change the whole, are trying to at least change the whole situation, right? So it's kind of like a similar policy. And both countries are, as I mentioned, poised for growth, albeit it's not extremely exciting, but both are poised for growth, which is going to be driven by minerals, of course. Zambia, as I mentioned before, copper prices, the demand for copper is increasing because of this rush for AI and rush for this military developments as well. What else was I going to mention? Oh yeah, Ghana with gold as well. Gold was at last week was at 5,000, I want to say 5,300 per ounce, which is about 28 grams. You can imagine 5,000 US dollars for an ounce of gold, you can imagine. But the challenge has always been, and I think I mentioned that in the previous video, that the challenge between these two countries is that whilst they are making these socioeconomic improvements, or macro level, I should say, improvements, a lot of the local populations don't seem to be seeing or feeling those improvements.
can I
So there
can I
seems to
can
be
I
a,
come in?
a, a huge chasm between, yeah, you can go ahead, micro and macro.
Yeah, I mean, now I love the fact that we're talking about people.
Mm-hmm.
The Because I really wanted to look into, this. It's lovely. I love all of these announcements about, strong stock market, strong currency, good in inflation rates, and all of those things. So I think let's just zone down to the micro level. Zambia and Ghana are both countries that face incidences, high levels of poverty. So if we
Uh-huh.
look at the statistics quickly, um, prevalence of poverty in Zambia, it's very high. According to the World Bank, it is over 60%. Yeah. In Ghana, it is lower but still significant. It's 25 to 40%, depending on your
What is that?
measure. Poverty,
Poverty. Okay. Okay.
poverty rates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Multidimensional poverty. So other aspects of poverty. Um, 48% in Zambia, 25% in Ghana. Human Development Index, so aspects including education years, uh, life expectancy, and
Mm-hmm.
income per capita. Zambia ranks at medium, classified at medium at 0.959. Ghana also ranks at medium at 0.60 to 0.63. So the higher you go, up to 1, meaning you are high income, a high level of human development. 0.0000 is meaning very low. So these are both countries in the middle of that spectrum. So global HDI rank, Zambia ranks 153, I think out of 180 countries or 170 something countries. Ghana ranks 143. So in that aspect, in all these aspects, Ghana is fairly better off than Zambia. When we look at the average person and the average standards of living that they have, they are not the best in the world. There are still people that are going through a very tough time. So many of
Mm-hmm.
these announcements, particularly visa-free ones, which cost a lot of money to travel in Africa, will not be, those people will not really be affected by many of these pronouncements.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the point I'm also trying to drive at, which is that, like, on the macro level, you're seeing all these improvements, but it's the failure to for these improvements to reach down, to the poorest of the poor, the most vulnerable, individuals, and that's, I think, a very, very, um, a very, very serious, problem. I think Ghana.
So bad.
uh, Yeah, I think Ghana also needs to tighten up with regards to its gold um, smuggling as well. There's a lot of smuggling. I mean, of course, that kind of goes hand in hand with the
Ghana,
poverty rates. I
Ghana
think
has
they
had
lost.
the Galamsey issue. That was a huge point of the 2024 election. Actually,
Hmm.
it was, I think, to do with illegal gold smuggling and the whole
Hmm. I think the
the
country
whole
lost
issue.
close to. I want to say 11 billion, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong because I wanted to say 1 billion in 2019, I think, due to, I want to say 1 billion, but it's somewhere in the billions, right? Like about, and just
Wow.
simply in smuggling, right?
Mm.
And also, another countries also, Zambia as well, also loses quite a lot of money due to smuggling
And Zambia just sent
of,
the military to tackle um, illegal gold miners or artisanal
uh,
miners. And some of them who are foreigners, are foreign to Zambia, and are mining in
gold
Zambian territory.
in
Yeah.
Mufumbo. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's still a lot. The pronouncements are welcome. Still a lot to do. Both countries are in debt. At least Ghana has restructured its debt. Zambia is still trying to fight that. So let's move away from the memes and try to figure out how both countries can actually uh, make millions. So that's pretty much it from
Or
my side. I don't
billions.
know if you wanted to add something.
No, no, no. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, so this has been a deep dive into the Ghana Zambia situation ship, I guess you can call it that. See you guys next time. And yeah.